How adorable is this? Look at this giant pin cushion. It only takes a small piece of fabric and a little bit of your time to create this really usable item for your workspace. Now, we all need more than one of these. So join me in the workshop, learn how to make this. Oh, wait, did I tell you? It's got a little holder over here for our favorite friend, the seam ripper. This is the perfect giant pincushion you're going to want to make not just for yourself, but for your sewing friends as well. So come join me in the workshop and let's make this cutie. All right, so let's get started. So you want to start with a piece of fabric that's 9 by 12. You're going to fold it. You're going to fold it right sides together so that you have a piece that's 6 by 9, and you want to just do a nice generous width on your seam allowance. I used a 1/2 inch. You're going to stitch it down on the long side and then find the middle, push it together. So if I stitched it, then I would just hold this, find the middle, push it together, and then I would stitch again. So you have that, and that is another 1/2 inch seam allowance. Because it's so bulky, I just went ahead and folded those. Okay, so you're only going to do one short side. You're going to leave this side open. You're going to turn it right side out, and you're going to have this shape here. So again, just leave the raw edges on the inside. It's all going to be hidden. Don't worry about all those threads. But I have a seam down the middle of the back and then a seam at the bottom. And this is going to be our envelope. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to fill it with some rice. So you're going to measure up. I did some different measurements. I ended up liking an 1.5 inches from the bottom and then 1 inch. So I went ahead and marked it with some chalk up from the bottom 1.5 inches and then another inch. It's best to get both of these markings on there while your project is flat. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to fill this with rice. It takes about 1/2 cup to fill this. You don't want it too full. So you're going to just drop the rice in from the top. This is going to be filled with rice. And then what you're going to do is you're going to just kind of make sure it's all below that line and then fold it up. And then you're going to go to the sewing machine and you're going to stitch right along that line. So I recommend using a measuring cup. And that way you can get consistent sizes when you fill up. You'll always know exactly how much you put in each, and all of your items will match. So I've got my rice in here. I ended up using just a 1/4 cup of rice, and then what you want to do is make sure it's evenly distributed along the bottom, and then fold it like this, and that helps to make sure, and then bring it to your sewing machine holding it just like that. Now I'm going to put it up under here, and I'm going to try to keep that rice off into that section, and I'm going to open it up, and I have a zipper foot on here so I can get nice and tight to that line, and then just stitch. This is why it is so much nicer that I made that marker line. Now at this stage, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add another strip. So this is what it's going to look like. Okay, this was a practice one, so you can see this base is 2 inches. I think it's a little wide to do the 2 inches, but I'm not going to take it apart. It's still very usable. So, but this is 1 inch, and that's a good width if you want to add things like your seam ripper and maybe some snips or something to be balanced in that channel. So this is what it's going to look like when it's done. Now, you do need to put some kind of stiffener or stabilizer inside of here. I made one without it and it was just too floppy, and so I unpicked it and put something in there. So what do I recommend? Well, I happen to have this. I use these in my bag making. This is vinyl by the roll. You can see it's the very, very low end stuff. It's very affordable. You buy it by the foot, I believe, but the roll is very long, so it lasts a long time. And you do not want the peel and stick. Number one, they're way too rigid. Number two, you don't want that stickiness. So this has no adhesive on it. And yes, it can be sewn through. I sew through this regularly. It's great stuff. So what you do is you take this and you just slide it in here. You bump it down against your seam. And then you can feel it, and then you take it to the sewing machine and you'll feel it, and you just run it right along the edge, and then you'll get this. All right, now, so we have our rice in the bottom. We have our channel here with some type of stiffener. You could even put a piece of plastic or whatever you have around. Whatever you have available, just use that. And now the top part is what we have left. Now this is going to be filled up halfway with rice, and then the top is going to be finished off with batting. So definitely only fill the base with halfway with rice, and then push down on the top, lots of batting. And then again, I used a 1/2 inch, so I folded it down a 1/2 inch. And on this one now, we're not going to stitch it this way. We're going to stitch it this way so that we get it to sit nicely. So once I folded this in at a 1/2 inch and I had the batting and different things, the first time I made it, I stitched it by machine across the top. I did not like the finished look at all. So it's just 6 inches there, barely 6 inches. So, I just went ahead and stitched it by hand, and I just really liked that finished look. It doesn't take long at all. So up to you, whatever you want to do. But again, it's sitting right at the top of the item. So I really did not like it to be lumpy, bumpy, and so I chose to just do it by hand like that and give it a nice finished look, especially if you're giving this as a gift. Um, just take a moment to finish that off nicely. So, and here we are. So in the top, I put about a cup of rice in each of them. And then you see I've got the batting in there. And this is so this is 2 layers. So this is a piece that's approximately 6 by 6. So 2 thin pieces that are about 6 by 6 inches. Put that in there on top of the rice, and that seems to be the ideal proportions on those bags. Here they are, all finished. How fun is that? Everyone different because of the fun quilting on there. So great little gifts for anyone that quilts or does sewing.